All right. Hey. Welcome back, Saggies. All right, so let's get into this, and we're going to take a look at what is the divine timing bringing in right now. What is it the right time for? And I say that just because we have Big Ben behind me here. Obviously, we've got a London backdrop, and I really like this one because we've got so many different elements that we can play with. Earlier in the week, we did kind of a message of, like telephone message storytelling. Now we're on to the kind of like divine timing. And then tomorrow we'll take a look at what or who is coming riding in on the bus. Okay, so we'll get to that as well. Just FYI, YouTube's struggling right now with processing. Everything's real bogged down. So this might be the last video that I upload here. I'm still going to go over to Tarot Dog after this, and we'll have a today's topic at midnight. But I'm noticing things are not finishing processing, even short videos. So things are boggy tonight. Anyway, you guys, just to give you that little heads up. So we have a 7 of Wands at the moment. 7 of Wands energy. What is this the right time for Sag? Says possibly blocking energy, looking at obstacles, finding ways around them, or blocking things that we don't want to come in and derail us. Wheel of Fortune. So this really is about timing. It is time to look at what's blocking us. That's the way I would say this now. Ooh, Mastery of Swords sideways is okay. Not to be, please don't shoot the messenger here, but for this fictional character, the Sag, are they saying, I don't want help? Even if there's somebody who would like to offer help, is Sag pushing somebody on out of their life, possibly a Leo Sag, or excuse me, Libra, Gemini, or Aquarius. Forgive me. I don't know why I wanted to say Leo, Sag, or Aries. I guess because I just did an Aries story. But this, yes, he is our little fallen angel. He's got sooty little angel wings. He's kind of got the bad boy behavior. But on the other hand, this does seem to be somebody who's got a lot to offer. But it almost looks like either Sag is rightfully saying it is time that I push people out of my life that might bring drama in, or is Sag pushing somebody away that they actually would like, but they're trying to find reasons to say, no, I don't want this person in my life. Are they, like vilifying somebody on purpose, even if they don't deserve it, just to be like, I don't want somebody who's going to bring drama. And it's like, maybe this person wouldn't bring drama. Well, they might. Is it really because Sag has a little bit of a fear? It's time to look at what's blocking Sag. We have a 2 of Swords, and Sag is like, I get to block whatever the hell I want, Kate. And I would agree. But our character is blindfolded. Let's actually pause for just a second and say, universe, is there something that is blocking our Sag right now that they're like unaware of? The Hermit. They are, this whole story keeps giving me this vibe that Sag is actually continuously saying, I want to be alone. I should be alone. And look, if Sag wants to be alone, you better believe they have every right to. Nobody knows, better than ourselves sometimes what we need. But if we are erroneously saying, I should be alone because X, Y, or Z, and we're actually heaping, like hurt and pain and unfairness on ourselves, because we can certainly be our own critics and we can certainly be the people that tear ourselves down the most, then I would be like, whoa, maybe Sag does need to hear this message, from the universe's perspective. The universe is like operating as a friend right now to Sag, a supportive friend who's like, babe, the blockage is you keep saying you should be alone. 2 of Wands is here. I almost think that Sag is saying, like, from a place of pride, I can do it myself. And I'm guessing, because I know this is very relatable. I mean, this is for a fictional story, for a fictional character, right? But I will say that persona of screw everybody, I can do it myself, I don't need anybody. I think we can all go through that. I think that's a very relatable feeling to have sometimes if people let us down, or if people are highly critical, or if, things can get so bitterly disappointing sometimes, and then we push everybody away because we're actually hurt. But we also say, you know what, I can stand on my own 2 feet. I don't need you. Thank you very much. In fact, I don't need anybody. And pretty soon we're going all 7 Nation Army, I'm going to fight them all. 7 Nation Army couldn't hold me back. Gosh, Jack White. That song comes to mind, which is a great thumping song, very powerful song, but that line is in my head right now. And I just feel like everybody has a point where they do get a chip on their shoulder, and for their own source of pride, they're like, I'll make all my own decisions. I don't need to consult with anybody. I don't need anybody's help. I don't need anybody around me. Everybody step off. I could totally understand that a character might feel that way. Hi guys, Lavender Moon, D-Rod, so great to see you. Page of Swords is upright. I definitely think there has been like either Sag has felt like they're a bit of a loner for a while, and they promise themselves this is how it will be from now on. I will figure it all out on my own. I think that Sag can make amazing decisions on their own. I do. I think they can do everything on their own. It just says, but if there are wonderful people who have something to offer us, why would we push that away? Yes, we can go, get our own stuff. We can make our own success. But if there's somebody awesome, we can go sit on the top of a mountain and see beautiful sunrise, sunset. We can take solo trips and enjoy every moment of it. But if there are other human beings at the same place at the same time, also enjoying the sunrise or sunset, and there's a chance for a great conversation, why be like, I don't need to talk to any great human who's obviously, sharing this moment with me. Why shove away anything that is maybe nice, especially anything that doesn't even cost us anything? It just feels like maybe Sag has gone so far down that road of isolating themselves and putting themselves into this state of mind where it's like, I'll figure it all out on my own. I'll reinvent the wheel if I need to, but I will not ask anybody for their help. And if somebody is showing up offering me anything, I definitely will tell them I don't need it, or I'll give them the cold shoulder. So if that is a blockage, however, and this might not be as extreme as I'm describing it in this very extreme way. Maybe this is very subtle. Maybe this is just a Sag who can't let anybody do anything. Somebody holds a door and they're like, I got it. Somebody says, can I help you pick that heavy item up? No, I can do it myself. I've got to, I'm going to lever it, and I've got this dolly and I'm going to do it all myself. But why not just say yes to the person who's right there who can make it 10 times easier and lift it together? It could be those little teeny tiny things that Sag can't let anybody do anything for them. And it says that might be a blockage for Sag to realize and to release just a little bit. That might be something to acknowledge if Sag has gotten to the point where they're so self-reliant that it's crossed the line toward pushing away anybody or anything that could make their life a little easier, a little more friendly, a little bit more companionable. Look, this Sag is great, and I'm sure they're very capable. But to me, there's an undercurrent in this story that says Sag has been left on their own and disappointed too many times. And that's what made them say, I don't need anybody. I never want to rely on anybody. I don't want to ask somebody for help and then they turn me down, or I don't want to get burned anymore. So guess what? The world doesn't need me. I don't need the world. I can do it all myself. I think Sag had some crappy people around them at some point that disappointed them. And that is a blockage for Sag, because now they're not able to let in the good ones. So forgive me, but that is what we got on this storyline so far. And I always tell the story that I see good, bad, or ugly, but just remember they are fictional stories. I'm not trying to call you out no matter who you are. Page of Coins is here sideways, along with that 7 of Coins upright. Look, I think this Sag does know this deep down. I think maybe they haven't wanted to admit it, but I think that they know deep down. I think this has been a thought that's been growing in their own mind. So the fact that it's just coming to the surface now, keep in mind, this is kind of a good time for a message like this, because tomorrow, the 7th, I mean, it's not the 7th where I am yet. It'll be the 7th tomorrow. That is where we get that full moon. It's also a blood moon, a full lunar eclipse. And with that in mind, the reason it's a blood moon is because of the position that the moon is in, Earth's shadow. And so I did a storytelling for tomorrow that'll come out where I did 6 different messages to select from, but that'll come out tomorrow. But it was about, what is the shadow showing us during this lunar eclipse, this full moon. And I feel like I said this just now in a Leo video, or excuse me, Aries video also, like this is kind of like a shadow message, only in this case it's, oh, so that's the thing I've been kind of hiding from my own self, even though I'm becoming aware of it. Maybe I have become so self-sufficient. Maybe this is something that, yeah, that is a blockage, huh? 5 of Cups. The other thing, and I think that this is a really beautiful way to think about it. Sometimes when we won't allow anybody else into our lives, we're doing it for ourselves, saying, I don't need anybody. I certainly don't need to be disappointed. And I didn't ask anybody to help me. But what if rejecting them, in this case, him, maybe he needed somebody to interact with? And what if our, insistence that we don't need anybody is actually the rejection of somebody who they could have used Sag to make them feel like a person, seeing them, seeing what they have to offer, allowing them to help them pick up that heavy item and, put it in the back of whatever, the truck or something, allowing somebody to help them carry a grocery or something like that. What if that rejecting, sometimes we don't let somebody give us a moment of assistance, it's like we reject them, and then they in turn feel kind of like, wow, I don't have anything to offer anybody. Nobody wants what I've got to offer. Sometimes we don't realize it, but it's important to say yes to people who want to offer us something because they needed to feel like they have something to offer. And when we put it in that concept, changes, and now it's not just about, Sag saying, I don't need anybody's help. Sag, it isn't always about us though. Sometimes it's about the other person who so needed to feel like what they had to offer was valuable to another person. So I don't know, I think that that's kind of sweet, and that kind of puts it in a whole different spin. And remember, this Wheel of Fortune card shows 2 different people sharing, giving and receiving. I understand why Sag is like, I don't want to take anything from anybody, and I damn sure don't need people to offer me stuff, and I don't need to be disappointed. But now let's consider, maybe it's been a long time since anybody felt, made him feel like he was valuable. And if he's trying to offer something and getting rejected, it could maybe make him feel really sad with that 5 of Cups. Sag has an opportunity to make somebody feel valuable, to pause and be like, I'm not used to taking help from anybody. I always promised myself that I wouldn't because I don't want to get disappointed, but here you are offering me something, and that's so nice. And so I'm going to say yes, because it is really nice and I'm not used to nice. Maybe Sag should just be raw and real about it. Maybe that's it could even be that maybe that's why these 2 are meeting. It may be the right time to let somebody in, or to unblock something, unblock that tendency to push people away and let someone give that little bit of assistance. We have the Mastery of Cups in the reverse. Definitely. So this is actually the King of Cups in the reverse, even though there's a Queen here. I definitely feel like if Sag is able to let down that guard a little bit and maybe allow somebody, the King of Swords here, to like show up for them a little bit, that could also allow the King of Swords to understand Sag a little bit better. I get it. You were with somebody selfish, emotionally manipulative, somebody that disappointed you a lot. That I understand. He's got his own story, whoever he is. Just says, you know what? People go through very similar things in life. People get hurt in similar ways. And sometimes when 2 hurt souls are able to, actually 2 sweethearts. I mean, Sag is great. This King of Swords looks great. They've both been super disappointed by people though. And it's like, there's some common ground. I totally understand what you've been through, Sag. I understand why you've been protecting yourself. I understand why you might have been blocking yourself, not wanting to let people in. I get that. Somebody didn't treat you good. This could be the moment that is a nice turnaround. We have the Temperance card upright, where 2 people actually have they start to create like a safe zone where if Sag kind of allows this King of Swords to do something kind of kind, if Sag maybe even lets them know a little bit of something about them instead of keeping themselves silent like a little clam, that could be, I'm not saying this is trauma bonding. I'm saying it's the comprehension that, oh, you got disappointed and treated like crap before too. I know what that feels like. And that could be the awareness. Sometimes it's like just being validated, having somebody like understand what we've been through, that believe it or not, all of a sudden those burdens start to feel a heck of a lot lighter. There's a little bit of calm and peace. Maybe Sag is going to wind up feeling very comfortable around this King of Swords and vice versa, simply because it's like, oh, you're not used to being treated nice either. Yeah, I'm not used to being treated like I got much to offer. So, you know what? It's. I guess both of us had a nice exchange here. It just feels like this awareness that when we treat each other, let each other in just a little bit, maybe even let each other know just a smidge of how we view the world or why we are who we are. It's amazing how that little bit of sharing can create this wonderful safe space. And that's really what we see on this card, which is all about divine timing. That's a way more thought-provoking message than I was expecting. Actually, I really like that one. I feel like that one hits at some deeper levels there. I'm very pleased to see a more thoughtful message for this. Sometimes we get, love messages and all kinds of stuff like that. And those are fun. And I like the mystical messages, but I think that this one was really heartfelt. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave this one here. Sweet. Thanks again for being here, babe. Always so great to hang out with you. Lindsay, hi, honey. I know, Lavender Moon. The moon has been amazing. The sunset has been amazing also. La Unique One, thank you for being here. Hi, darling. And D-Rod, you angel. Thank you, sweetheart. All right, I'm going to bounce over to Tarot Dog. If you guys feel like hanging out, I'll see you over there. I don't know. Everything seems to be taking a really long time to process. So I'm kind of hesitant to do any more videos right now because I don't know what that looks like on your guys' end. When they don't process, it means you may be seeing them in really like low quality until they process up to the HD version. And so I'm a little hesitant to put out too many more tonight on this channel until I see that things are, sometimes YouTube does updates and it'll bog down processing a bit. So we might be in the midst of another one of those. There've been a lot lately in the last couple months, and I feel like that might be where we're at. But we're going to try one over on Tarot Dog, and I hope that this was not too bumpy for you guys to watch right now. All right, thanks for being here, everybody. Lots of love. Bye for the moment.